And who would have known that the dynamics of a relationship between a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law would surface an insight behind how best to design a cereal packaging? Welcome to Thank God It's a Story Saturday, a weekly video series where I share stories with you that you can use to make your messages connect. Today's story is from this book called Small Data by Martin Lindstorm. Now, before I start, let me tell you what is small data. Small data is the data you collect by boots on the ground, going and talking to people, observing how they live their daily lives, and taking a keen interest and notice of their behaviors and habits. So the story goes back to the year 2013. A global cereal manufacturer had done really well in India for over a decade, but now the sales were declining and they were losing market share with this new female buyer. The global manufacturing company contacts Martin Lindstorm, the author of this book, to help try and find a solution to this problem. In preparation to going to India, Martin watches about 70 to 80 Bollywood movies. What a great way to learn about Indian culture. He also takes notice that a lot of the TV content is based on this Indian mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship dynamic, or as we commonly call in India, Saas-Bahu relationship. So Martin's way of collecting small data, as I mentioned, was to actually go and observe people's life, ask questions, and really try and understand how they live their lives. So he needed to get entry into these homes. And as he started visiting these homes, he used his Bollywood dialogues as a way to make connection with these mother-in-laws who are really the in charges of the house. He gets entry into the kitchen. The mother-in-law is allowing Martin to go into the kitchen because that's where he really wants to notice most of the things, to see why exactly the sales for the cereal is dropping. And then Martin notices that next to the stove, in almost every house that he goes to in India, there is this container with small boxes within the container, which are all these spices. And there's certain spices that are really colorful and others not so much. I also have one of those. I'll put a picture of that for you here. And he notices that all the very colorful spices are closer to the stove than the non-colorful spices. He keeps making these small data observations and keeps taking note. He's yet not sure how he's going to use all of this, but he's just making notes. He then tries to understand this young Indian modern female, and he notices that these young girls, because of internet, have a lot more exposure to the Western world. Their choices are subtle. They love Western movie stars and music people and bands and all that sort of stuff, and their taste is very, very different to the taste of the mother-in-law. The next thing Martin does was to ask the mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws, what color comes to mind for you when you think of the word fresh? And the daughter-in-laws say green, but the mother-in-laws say yellow, red, and those sorts of bright colors. And the final thing he does is to actually start looking at the way these two ladies, the mother-in-laws and the daughter-in-laws, go and make a purchase of these cereal boxes in these moms and pop stores. So when the mother-in-laws walk in, they only have the sight till here. When the daughter-in-laws are taller and they look above the cereal packaging as well. Now Martin is making sense of all this data he's collected. He needed to come up with the design that could influence both of them. So what does he do? He makes a suggestion to make this design of a cereal box 2/3 bright colored, because that's where the mother-in-law's gaze is. And the 1/3 on top green with the nutritional information, because that's where the daughter-in-law's gaze is. That design changed the path of revenue and profit for this global cereal manufacturer. So why am I telling you this story? What's the point of this story? The point of this story is that, yes, big data tells us what is happening, but small data and the stories that we collect tells us why what is happening matters. Stay storied. I'll see you here next Saturday with another story.